So, welcome to the live stream. This is a continuation of our discussion. What I wanted to tell you today is quite simple. There is one question that differentiates the quality of a human being. When a man questions, when a person, a man or a woman questions who he is or who she is, who am I? That's the most profound question. The answer to that question is self realization. If the quality of the self is such that whatever it believes it is what it becomes. Is what it represents itself as, is how it behaves. Then that is why humans call themselves as, identify themselves with different identities. Like, I'm a doctor. I call myself a doctor. And then I tell myself that I am a doctor. My identity revolves around me being a doctor. Actually, what I am is something else. If I say I am a doctor, my profession is what I am talking about. But who I really am is not addressed there. Similarly, if you call yourself a lovable person, probably that is because of how you behaved in the past. That is not who you are. That is a characteristic of yours. That is a property of yours. It is not you. The body also is not you. God forbid if a person loses his finger in an accident. Who was he? The person who had the finger intact, or the person after he lost his finger? What he lost, that finger was also him, right? Then what is he? Similarly, if the body is you, there are a myriad of questions that can be raised, which will eventually convince you that the body isn't you. You must have heard from people who say that their body isn't supporting them. Then who needs that support from the body? A lady who is aging would probably say, after a long walk, that my body used to support me better when I was younger, but now it does not. In this particular statement, you know for sure that that is herself and her body, are not one and the same. Then who is she? The body isn't her. If I say the characteristics of a person, that isn't the person. The profession, that is not the person. Then who am I? It is not the mind either. Because as you meditate, it becomes quite obvious. I'll give you an example for which you can relate to even without meditation. But what's off my mind already is that you, as an observer, will start seeing your mind play mischief. It will give you ideas of past, present, emotions, all that, which you will not be identifying with yourself, but you would rather look at your mind as playing all that mischief. This would happen to you when you are in a position to control your mind. And when you are in that position, you should control your mind. And when you control your mind, you will be the happiest person. You are a person who has his mind under control is the happiest person. So the mind isn't you. Let me think of a simpler example. Desire is a property of the mind. So a very simple example. If you have a bad habit or you are an addict, you want to utilize that substance which is your addiction, or do that action which is your addiction, whatever is addictive. When you know that it is not good for you, but you still do that, the person who creates that desire, that temptation to do it, is the mind. The person who knows that it is wrong is you. Even before you do it, while you do it, and later on, at all times, you are that awareness which knows, which just observes. Sometimes, by the merit of your birth, your awareness is strong enough to obstruct you from riding along the train of the mind. Sometimes it is not. If you are not strong enough to suppress your mental inclinations based on desire, then you will fall behind that momentary pleasure that the mind was seeking. If you are strong enough, you will suppress the mind, feel the pain for a short while, but be left with the satisfaction that you did the right thing. You will be left with joy. That was a very simple example that happens in day to day life. You can think of any situation where you did something but you knew wasn't the way it should have been done. It doesn't come out of reasoning. That awareness comes because it already exists, it is there. That is a part of the intelligence that is embedded within all of us. When we suppress that intelligence by giving priority to the desires of the mind, we act in devilish, satanic manners. When we let that awareness observe the truth, there is no space for restlessness. There's only peace. And that kind of peace and happiness is called bliss, or something even more enjoyable, for lack of a better word. At multiple levels, you will have to digest the fact that you are awareness. Initially, a seeker thinks, yes, this is me. Or he thinks, yes, I should not identify myself with my profession or with my actions. I have to find who I am. And from scriptures, or at this surface level, he thinks he digests the fact that he should not assume an identity and has an improper understanding of the self. But throughout his journey in the spiritual direction, that clarification to who he really is, to what I am, the perfect answer to who I am would be molded stage by stage. At every stage with new realization, you will see that the answer to who am I becomes more profound Though you read in scriptures in one word, in experience it's something else that has to be experienced. Even after you are enlightened, you can very easily fall into a pit, and is the pit that you will fall into, could fall into, is giving yourself another identity of a realized person. When you think of yourself as a realized person, when you think of yourself as a teacher who has now entered an enlightened phase, when you think of yourself as someone beyond or better than the rest of human beings who are still seekers, or who, when you think you are anything better than anyone because you just experienced enlightenment, you will slip into taking up an identity, and that identity itself is your downfall. Before you realize, you will already be in that pit, and you will have to climb up again. If you do not climb up again, probably you will have a successful life. You will lead a successful life because of the experiences you have had during the journey towards enlightenment. But still, you would never have found who you really are. You wouldn't be living there. You would have experienced it only for a while. That stability after learning who you are is what will keep you enlightened. And that stable state is what scriptures call as the state of a devata. And that's even the taste of enlightenment can happen only with great courage. So a person who displays that kind of courage is called a Veera, the courageous one. And a person, and any person who doesn't dare to do all that but is quite comfortable with the vagaries of human life, the ups and downs, finds misery in it, finds joy in it, finds accomplishment in it, finds satisfaction in it, and is happy living that life, will continue living like an animal. And scriptures call such people as Pashu. These are the three kinds of individuals: the Pashu, the Veera, and the Divya. So there are different kinds in our culture, in Indian culture, in the tradition of this subcontinent. There are various cultures, various behaviors that are applicable, that are available, and these behaviors give you a multitude of opportunities to lead your life, eh, be it like a Pashu or a Veera or a Divya or whatever you choose. True realization can only happen when you are given that kind of freedom. You can choose a path that is most comfortable to the senses, to others, and to yourself and to your mind. You can choose to do yoga, you can choose to practice Tantra, you can choose to do something beyond all that. Whatever. Whatever goes well with your vibe is what you can do. That is the nature of this subcontinent. That is how we have had such diversity in our cultures. If you have seen this video uh, at a time other than when it was live, I would encourage you to join me by visiting our channel, clicking on notify for the upcoming live stream. So you will have an opportunity to join the live stream that's coming next after getting notified. Or you can also mail your queries if you do not want to put it on a public chat. If spiritual inquiry and self realization are really important to you, you can find me in our next live session. Thank you.